Our speaker is an icon in his industry, but he is really an icon to anyone who he meets. Creator and founder of Carlton Hair Salons, creator and founder of Sexy Hair, creator and founder of Rock Your Hair. His energy, his passion for life, and his common sense wisdom has propelled him into a place where he now is in charge of Rock Your Life. Please welcome my friend and soon to be your friend, Mr. Michael O'Rourke.
I'm all good. Business has changed dramatically over the years. I'm most probably around about 100 years old now, so I do understand time. And I'll go back slightly to my background for a second. My brother and I were orphans, and this sounds sad, but in all due respects, it was a blessing. The blessing being that it allowed me to understand that from a very young age, you have to take control of your own life because no one gives a bugger, right? So from that time on, I said, I got to drive no matter what. The interesting thing was that a few years later, my brother and I were adopted by a farm family in Zulu. I come from South Africa. And the lady that was there, she was this 230-pound mama. Now imagine, I'm the skinny little guy, blonde hair, never been hugged in my life. And she comes along. And gives me a hug. Well, let me tell you what they did. One, remember I was I was a street rat. All we knew was to fight back. This hug taught me about love and caring. So the combination of those two things is what's driven my business. Now, I'm not some big hero or anything like this, but if you had to look at what I'm a capitalist for, it would be generating close to $1 billion. Now, when you think of where we come from and why, you say to yourself, how? Remember what I said, it was a blessing being in the orphanage. Why? You have this fanatical thing that you have to do well. You have to prove yourself. You have to go out there and fight for it. My life has always been like this. 80 million, zero. 150 million, zero. I like it like that. I don't like to think that you make 100 million and you sit back and you think, I've made it and life goes on. Do what? I love golf. I think it's great. I haven't played much, but I used to play. But I wouldn't be able to sit down without starting. I started a new company in June again from scratch. Now think about that. That means any capital you made goes into it again, and there you go. This has taught me so much about business. The one thing that I want to emphasize of where business has gone. Business used to be linear, which means a straight line down. Top is your executives. The executives create the rules, and they tell you what to do, and then the team goes and does it. The world's changed. It's horizontal. Horizontal is everybody has an equal playing field and can contribute to the growth of the company. Very important to understand that because, and also adding to that is the culture integration of having a mixture of culture. Why do you do that? And I'll add to that in a second. But why do you do that? Because they come with different ideas, different cultures. And if you want to grow a company with newness, which is where we're going, because of the way the world is, in 1 second, people can know about your company, know about where you can't snow job everybody anymore. It's all so transparent. So it's great to have that mixture because they bring a different feel to the company. I also believe that a lot more women should be in management or running companies today. And I'll tell you why. Have you ever sent a man to a grocery store? He goes, oh shit, goes to the grocery store. He just happens to be hungry at the time, right? He's got a budget of $50. And guess what happens? So he goes to the grocery store, and you know what's going to happen. $150 later, he's got ice cream, everything else that he doesn't need, and he goes home, and his wife's like, what happened? Now, the point of it was, she has a more logical mind. She understands the budgets better, how to run the family better, and I think that pertains to business as well. So I've had to encourage, I've started coming in June. I'll definitely have more women in management because I feel they control my grocery store buying. I'm just joking. But they will control the way I think about business as well. It's a different mentality. As a guy, in my mind, from the beginning was drive, drive, drive. I want to do 100 million. And that was the beginning of it. And the way I did it was I would set budgets each year. And I'd say, we're going to do 33% compounded growth. For give you an example, if it's 10 million that year, 33%, I'm at 13 million something the next year. On that, compounded on that, I'm at 17 million the following year. This is phenomenal growth, especially when you see the bigger companies that are competing against me had a 5% growth. Why? Here's the secret. Your staff, your team, is your whole life. And how did I do that? One, in Carlton here, I'll just go back to that one, where I had 50 salons, and we did 10,000 clients a week, was that I'd watch a kid when they came into the company, and I'd see them, I said, they looked honest, they were hard, they were driven, they were hungry, and I said, that's potential management. So what I did was, as I opened new salons, I would give them a 20% stake in that salon. Why? Because they would live and breathe the company because it was theirs. Very important, I learned very early, if you share correctly, they will cover you and you end up as a powerhouse. All the salons would come around and look out from the outside and see, how come we were cranking, doing 800 people a week? What was it? It was that everybody has stake in the company. And if you could learn that, it's so important. We want it, we want it. I own it, who cares? I own it with my team. My team own it together, and we drive this thing like you can't believe. If you could think like that, you can't go wrong. And the future thinking is just like that. It's not like I'm the star and you're all the guys' workers. No, we're all in it together. Let's drive this thing. Very interesting. That was it. In the sexy hair that I had, and I had 250 people in the field, what I did with them was, I think I told you, was when they got a bonus, like, okay, I would say to my guy that was handling, let's just say, the Midwest, or part of it, I'd say, you got $1 million this year, you got to grow your business by $1 million. But I'll give you 10% of that. That's a lot of money, because when you think of after your gross sales and you see what you net, you take 10% out of this, you're like, what the hell? But here's the difference. My COO used to be so upset with me. He's like, I don't earn that money. I said, really? You have 10% of the equity. We do 100 million, you're already at 10 million, or in our business, of product business, the multiple is by 10 times EBITDA, or maybe 5 or 10 times earnings. Different to running a salon business where it's all labor intense, and you've got rents to pay, and you buy the company, half the staff walks away, you have nothing. So in that business, I realized that we had to drive it to get to the number. So my COO, as I told you, was so upset about it. And he's very, very smart. He's a South African rugby player, which I always had behind me, because whenever I hear he's like 6 foot something. So if someone said to me, I don't think we're going to pay that, I'm like, no problem. Speak to Mark. And he would be cold-faced, say, yes, you are. And I'd be like, thanks, Mark. I've done that. And then I had a marketing lady, which was also 6 foot something. So remember, your team make you. They were smarter than me. They were bigger than me. They were more powerful than me. But I drove it. One of my worst nightmares was doing budgeting at the end of the year. Now, you can imagine, I had a gentleman called Scotty Shark, Mark, and the four of them. So here's what happens. So we have marketing, we have finance, we have sales, and now imagine this. So I say to sales, you're going to have to do X amount of sales, and your budget's going to be X. Marketing says, why are you giving it to him? I created the products. Finance says, if it wasn't for me, you guys wouldn't even be here. So you can imagine I'm sitting at this table with these guys. These are all nightmare. But I chose them because no one had a team like that. No one. I mean, I don't want to talk about names, but there was L'Oreal, Clairol, all these guys were... So thank God they're not here. But here's what they did. I realized the difference is in a large corporation, people are scared, and they did a survey just a while ago, that 67% of people in a large corporation are scared to have an opinion. They're scared to say, you know what, I don't like the way this is going. We've got to change this, because if we did this and this and this, and we invented something new instead of the same damn thing over and over and over, we could actually grow. Do you know what? They were buried in it and couldn't change. So what does that do for smaller companies? It gives us tremendous opportunity to knock a hole in them, which they never expected. I can tell you now, I had a can with a big red can with big sexy hair on it. Let me tell you what a nightmare that was. When I launched it at, we call it Cosmocraft, which is where all the distributors come to see what's new, they took the can and looked at it and said, are you nuts? You have red sex on a red can, and there's no way we're taking this. So for 3 years, I ate peanut butter sandwiches. I'm used to that anyway, so whatever. and my body weight's about 155. I weighed 111. And the reason I'm telling you that is that you want to do something, you want to believe in something, you want to grow something. It's fanatical. You have to believe in it with your whole heart. And you have to also say to yourself, I'm willing to sell my home, my family's going to battle, but I believe in it that much. And it's a very, very hard choice to make, because everybody thinks, A, the can is stupid, B, my family's like, I hate living like this, you know. But if you believe, and it's very difficult. Someone said to me, how do I start a business? I said, find something that you truly believe in. Then have a look at it and see if it has a market. Who are you going to sell it to? And who's your competition? And how are you going to raise capital? When you figure that out, then say, do I love my idea? Because there's a lot of ifs and buts. And a lot of people have great ideas, but there's something missing in the chemistry to drive the thing regardless of the consequence and the suffering that goes with it. And you know something? I believe that there's opportunity for everybody. Like I said with my team. And let's go back to the salon. Remember all the managers that I gave shares? Well, when I sold the company, all those people eventually owned their own companies because I was totally transparent on numbers. If I had a salon, and let's assume the salon did 100,000 in the month, I would have a team meeting, that's all my staff, all the hairdressers were, and I'd say, here's what we got. We got 100,000. I paid you guys 60% because you're on commission. I got 40% rent. My rent is X, so I got $10. I hope you guys understand what business is about. It's not just going to walk home with 100 grand. You walk home with very little. The only thing that I did was multiply it. By the time I had 50 salons, and I'm making 10 grand on each one, I actually got some money. So you have to be able to expand yourself out of it if you're sharing at that rate. But the difference is that I shared, but I had my own power. I had, what did I have? 1,500 hairdressers all working and loving their job and caring for it as well, and loving the culture. If someone said, there's a club happening to have something going somewhere, and I said, I'd like my guys to come. Well, think about this. 1,500 guys walking in black with boots on, and they're like, who is this? That's my team. That's my army. And I'll tell you, I never tolerated anybody that thought they were a star. Every Wednesday, I had a class. All through my company, there was a class. Regardless of whether you were the top guy in the company, you came to a class and you rethought of what you did. Why? Never get above where you think you are. There's always something to learn, always. I'll say something which is going to upset some people, but in all due respect, the young can teach and the old can learn. But here's what happens. The old will learn, restructure it, and teach the young again. Can you understand the circle of learning? That's how it works. If you're too shy or you're too big deal to learn from someone that has another idea, you're missing the boat completely. You need to listen, digest it. You may be able to help them make it better or teach them how to go to another level. This is so important because, you know, as you get older, I mean, in 2 years I'm 80. So I say to myself, why would I want to learn from a kid? You know why? He's a new generation. What he knows in social media and that, I'm not even in the ballpark. I'm like, where's the on button? Oh, here, okay, I get it. really important because, as I said, it's important for me to know. And guess what I'll do? I'll employ the best social media kid on the planet. I can't do it. They'll kick my butt into eternity. But they can do it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have him, and I will take care of him. I will grow him. I'll make sure he has a great living, how to buy property, what to do, because he's going to take care of me. Do you see how the world works? We have to understand this circle of giving. It's very difficult because, you think, if I give this, I'm not going to make that much. If I do this, that's such old thinking. I wanted to go to a word that I like very, very much. I've got such a mixture of, this week I'm going to Colombia, wherever it is, and I'm doing some hair shows, and it's the same thing. You go to a hair show and you cut hair, but the most important thing is to teach them how to live. They're there to see the cut, but in all due respects, I'm from that world. We're not well educated. So we don't understand the idea of how to invest in property, how to diversify what we do. They don't know that. So what my job is, you see the haircut, oh, that's so amazing. Okay, let me talk about what you need to do with your money, right? Buy the worst piece of property in your little town that no one wants and sit on it while you have your home and everything else. Years later, you look up, 20 years have passed and that property's worth some money. You invested your tips in it, you got something. Simple thinking doesn't sound like a big deal to you guys, but in all due respects, for that level of person, they end up safe. Can you see that? Can I have an amen on that? Amen. Absolutely. There's a neurological drive, and that is your team and your mindset has to change sometimes. The neuro mind says, I'm going to employ likewise people than me. And we always did that. It was like, this is my buddy, this is that, and we all, no. What happens with that, it's too much of likeness of one. What happens, it should be opposite to that. And we do that because the mind is safe like that. What you need to do is to understand that you sometimes have to think of the opposite. Bring in people that are not likewise to you because they're going to shake you up a little, they're going to make you think a little bit differently, and they're going to upset the apple cart slightly so you can rethink. Isn't that amazing? I really believe that like crazy, and it's very, very difficult because I'm inclined to employ my friends because I know they're going to have my back. But they don't change the way I think, and I don't change the way they think. I need people of different ethnicities, different lifestyles to come in and shake us all a little, because otherwise we're going to run in a linear line and change nothing. That is not the way you grow a company in the future. The future is very different. It's like that. And so I'm such a believer in that. I was thinking about money, The world is driven, and me too, I hate to say it, was driven by money. And the drive is more my ego, which is more my complex, which is more of whatever. I had a home in Malibu, 7,000 square foot. I had a Mercedes where the doors go up. I can't even tell you what I had. I had cabinets that I paid $150,000 for. And I'll tell you something. Now where I am right now, I don't want any of that. I find that it's decadent. I find, why did I buy it? I don't even understand why I lived in a house with 2 people in it. And I say to myself, let me get a cottage and a pickup truck. I'll be damn happy. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to drive business because I love business. You see? But the point of it is we collect these things. And when you try, I'll give you an example. The one cabinet in my house, I had someone come in that wanted to buy it. Had an antique door. It was 200 years old, stained glass. So I built it into a cabinet, a liquor cabinet. You couldn't see it. All you saw was this antique door. So I said, what would you like to pay for it? He said, $4,000. Let me give you an idea. That's $90,000, that cabinet. So I said, you know something? Now I understand value. You can have it. Took the cabinet, and that's how I feel about it. Why? It doesn't have value in the end. We go through phases in life. In your 20s, you think you're so cool. You think you're so damn hot. Everybody thinks you're amazing, sexy, and all this jazz, right? In your 30s, you start to settle down slightly. You've got to get your kids in the right school. You start having children and the rest of it. In your 40s, you're like, you know what? I'll get the rhythm of life. I know who I am. I'm getting it. In your 50s, you're like, hey, been there, done that. Don't even talk to me about it. I get it, right? By the 60s, you're like, whatever. I wish I could think like that. You know, I still have this terrible thing of beating the pack. And remember what I said, it's complex. Complex of being poor from where you come from and so on. And I'm hoping at some stage I can overcome this feeling because it drives me fanatic. Like, I'm going to do the show this weekend, and I'm already thinking, how am I going to motivate those people that their lives are better? And what does it do to the whole for a company as well? You know the thing of sharing. When you share, it's amazing how people share back with you. When you share with them, like for example, when I had Sexy, I used to go out and do these shows and motivate people. Guess who my buyers were? They supported me to a company that went to 150 million in 6 years. Now, if you look at that on the street, it's 300 million. Why? Because I would go and do a show, I would arrive in a city. When I first started, remember, I was like 111 pounds. So I would have my credit card, and I'm thinking, please God, let this work. I would arrive. You have no idea. I would arrive there, and I'm going to do a show. Guess what? There was only 2 people there. Oh my God, I'm like, oh my God, I've traveled all this way on my credit card. There's 2 people at the show, so what do? I said, okay, I cut one, and the other one with the audience. Whatever. But next year, there was 100. 3 years later, there was 1,000. See? So you have to, do you remember that you have to start somewhere? Anywhere. I also say with property, people say, things are so bad, I'll never be able to buy property. Remember, find something even where you can't live, but get in the game. It's same in business. Get in the game. And then find out from if it's the lowest level, start from there and start scrapping it out with everybody. That's how you win. And I just such a believer in that. The other thing about is, I was going to talk about religion in the sense that when I come from the convent, the religion was very strict. But it was strict in a way where it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun to me. And remember the lady that gave me a hug? She had a different religion. It was all based on the same principle. But the way she dealt with it was so amazing because it was all about love and us and caring. Very different to the one I came for, which I didn't understand half the language while it was going. So this is important sometimes in religion to find it the way it's actually family. It's like a business. When I think of a business, and this will sound strange to you, but the leader of a business is like a father. This is his family. The worst thing you can do, if things are bad, is to fire your kids. You don't do that. You figure out how to keep them, right? I don't understand where their principles come from. I just don't understand it. It's sad that they think like that. Just a couple of things is the way you see yourself is the way you behave. I've always said that. If you see yourself as a battling on the low end, you're going to behave like that. That's a fact. And it takes people to get you to lift your head up and say, you know what, I got a chance in life. It takes people to do that. And you need to find someone as some kind of mentor or somebody that you can believe in to raise yourself. Otherwise, you battle and stay where you are. Business today is totally different, as I said. It's not horizontal anymore, it's vertical. And the vertical thinking is, we're all in it together, let's go get them. If you can truly buy into that, it's so powerful. If you really think you're such a damn star that you've got it all covered, you're dead in the water. It doesn't work like that anymore. It really works where you go out and take your team. As I said, they were stronger than me, they were better than me, but I led them. And they believed in that I thought. Like I'd create a red can, they were like, I hate it, but I'm with you all the way. It's scary. But that's the belief you want. And then they carried me. If I can just come from this meeting when you're believing that your team make you, that you care for them, you reward them well. I'll give you an example. I had a gentleman that I had from the salons. He was my manager in my ballet store. Not my manager. He cleaned the store, does all the stuff. And he was a bright kid. So I brought him into the Sexy Hair, and he taught him managing the warehouse, shipping and so on. Well, now he's the manager for Henkel. They have 9 lines shipping out maybe around 2 billion out of there. He handles all the shipping, all the computer work, everything. You have to see the talent in others and grow it and help them develop themselves. And guess what? They will develop you. They will come back, cover you, and grow your business. This is how you have to do. You know, we're always talking about stars. The stars, I'll give you an example. When you have a middle school, right? And they look at the kids and they give them a math problem. And the one kid's like, bam, 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 done. Another kid, it's okay, he's battling. Now, in the end, they analyze these kids 20 years later to see which ones did the best. Here's what it is. It can come from both. But it's something called grit. It's the drive to stay on the task like a damn bulldog, never let it go, no matter what the trauma, and stay on it and drive it. The grit is what drives it. There's no real description of it, but it's an emotional drive, a want to do it, a hunger to be there, and to do the best you can, and to not let go. I always call it a bulldog mentality. You know, the bulldogs were born to hang on to a bull's nose, and that way they could get hold of the bull and tame him, whatever. But the bull would smack him, stand on him, drive him, and the dog would hold on. It's the same as business. You're going to get whacked, you're going to get hammered, you're going to be figuring how am I going to get capital. Capital is like your worst nightmare. I remember when I was raising money for Sexy, I had a friend from South Africa, and I went to see him, very powerful guy, and I said, I was going to say his name, I shouldn't do that. Anyway, I said, like I did earlier, right? I said, can you help me? I'm growing this company called Sexy Hair, and I need some capital, you know? And he's like, are you nuts? Do you think I'm going to buy into blue sky? You have nothing. You have an idea, that's it. Anyway, my next call was, I walked out of there with my head down. My next call was the guys from Thailand. And they said, yeah, absolutely, come over and we'll figure it out. So again, on my credit card, it was a nightmare. I fly to Thailand, right? While I'm flying, the economy and the ratio of their currency to the American drops by almost 40%. So I land and I'm thinking, I got the money, let me go see these guys. I get there like, we're sorry. Our currency is worth nothing right now. We can't give you any money. Well, I want to tell you something. I'm thinking, maybe I shouldn't eat anything for a whole month to try and recoup from this. But the point of it is, eventually, I was at a show, and a gentleman was walking by, and you know, I said, hi, how you doing? We started talking. Anyway, him and his partner bought me. He said, I don't care about what you're selling. It's like, whatever. Here's a hair shampoo, there's a shampoo. I'm going to buy you. Why did he buy me? Because he felt I believed in it so much that it was worthwhile. So he put $2 million into it with his partner, right? Now, $2 million into a company that's losing, I think we're already about $3 million down and $250,000 a month. Can you imagine trying to pitch that? The guy's like, are you nuts? Anyway, he bought into it. On the first round of sale with the company, he got $42 million back. Now, that's a great return on your money. But remember who he bought. It's like the same as you. People buy you. You have a company, they buy you. They buy you. How many times you haven't seen companies bought over, and within 3 years, the damn thing's gone to hell because the people that built it with their soul and their heart are not there. Please remember, what makes the company? The people. If you can drive that thought, if this is anything I've spoken about today, it's your people that make you a star, not the stars. They do not make you at all. They're a pain in the ass, to be honest, because they're so busy about themselves. I'll give you a quick story. A guy's got chickens, right? So he's going to measure the eggs. What's productive, how productive they are. So he says, okay, I'm going to take these chickens. They're the best. They lay the most eggs. I'm putting them over here. I'm going to take these chickens, the average. I'll put them here. And we're going to see how this works out. So 5 generations. Remember, that's fast because the chickens die as life. So 5 generations. He looks at them. He looks at them. Another 5 generations. He comes back and he looks at the middle class ones. And these guys are doing well. They're healthy and they're driving. He goes over here. There's only 3 left. The others pecked the others to death. They were all so busy trying to be the star that anybody above them got whacked. Can you see? It gives you an idea about how it behaves. Sometimes stars are so busy about themselves, they forget that it's a team sport that we're supposed to be doing to drive the business. Can I have an amen on that? Amen. I should be a preacher. Where's David? I'll do David's job. Anyway, yeah, guys, I'm so thankful that you've given me the time. You know, you don't know me. I'm some funky hairdresser, comes from nowhere. But it's important, if it's any kind of message, the future is all about getting yourself surrounded by people that care about you, your cause, and how they're going to take you and that thing to the next level. If you can do that, you have a great company. Thank you so much.
Michael, thank you. Do you have any questions, Michael? I know you covered a lot, but is he hiring?
No, I'm not. I wish I was. I used to have salons here in South Coast Plaza and in Irvine and all over. Some of the salons were here. I wish I had them now. You know, because it's a different mindset right now. I think I would do it differently. I think because of the malls today are not the most attractive place for a salon. The traffic is different and so on. But what I would encourage kids to do is try and find an old house, pay something down on it, and build something where they don't have to have the rent change in 5 years' time where they can't afford it. That's what I do. So they'll build the money in the property, and they would build the thing where they wouldn't be paying rent so heavy later. I would encourage that as much. I talk about that when I go around to the salons, trying to buy, like the one kid I spoke to bought a little gas station, had an acre, and she now has a salon on it and a beautiful place for makeup and everything else, and now the whole area is built up. So she's sitting on a gold mine, but she took the risk as well. Everything's a risk, and if you're prepared to take it, you know what? You'll have blessings. Amen. That's enough.
A question, Barry?
More serious question. On that Mercedes, would you take 4,000 as well?
You know what's interesting? I had a truck that had been modified in Britain, and it was so beautiful, and I sold it. And you know something? I would swap 10 of those Mercedes for my truck. I loved it so much.
We're both on board.
You know, it's so interesting how your values change, honestly. And again, I'll go back to it's an age thing. When you're in your 30s and 40s, you have to prove where you're living, where do your kids go to school, how's it going to be. It's just natural. You get to my age, you're like, whatever. And you know what? I wish that I had learned whatever when I was 40. What a different place I'd be. Yeah.
One more question?
I can see by your hair, Angel.
I remember working with Michael, and the people would say, I hear Michael say, this company, and you touched on this company is not mine, it's for you. I want you to buy the house. I want you to buy the new car. I want you to put your kids through school. This is about you. And that stuck with me, and you mentioned that. But that philosophy is a wonderful philosophy to realize we're here to support each other, not just ourselves, right? And when you're successful, we're all successful. And that's the mentality. Please.
You know something? It's a very hard thing when you analyze that, to say you're going to give that much away, and then what's left for me as an owner. You know, you analyze that, but the end is, it depends on your goal. If your goal is to build a company to sell, that's very different to build a company that you want to keep. There's a very different mentality. One is you're going to sell it, you crank it. You drive it. It's all about numbers. It's all about future. The other is, it's less driven, but more family. And you're going to do it together, make sure everybody gets a home. And so there's different mentality, but both should be caring. I've been in both of them, and honestly, if I had a choice, I'd rather have one of the companies I had and just drive it slowly and enjoy every moment of it. Life goes too quickly to be so damn fanatic. Whatever.
That was terrific. Anything else? Any other questions, Michael? Do you have anything to say, Michael?
Beg your pardon?
Do you have anything else to add to all that?
No, I have honestly so much it would drive you nuts. So I'm not going to go there. But anyway.
Oh, this is great. Thank you. Michael drove almost 2 hours to be here with us, and I really appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you.